well, maybe by the time the next Irish Discworld convention comes around, we can have a little party for your 25th.
That'd be cool. I would like
Makes note.
As Lewis Carroll said, if you don't make a memorandum, was the line, it's the White King.
Yes, what is it? The horror of that moment. I will never forget. You will if you don't make a memo.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, got here a note saying Curry's, Peter.
Ah!
Curry's. Curry's the electronic store? Or
No,
Curry's the nom.
I think we're talking about food.
Ah, yes.
Curry.
Well, hot food generally.
Yes.
Some of you may have noticed that I've come equipped. I've got a little bottle of Tabasco in the official Tabasco sauce holster on my belt. That used to accompany me onto planes until they realized that I could probably blow up a plane with it or something. At least that's what the security people told me. I think they just wanted
Now it goes in the little plastic bag along with the,
Yes, it goes into the wet
Extra,
pack. It still comes on the plane with me. It just doesn't live in a holster. Well, this same holster actually extracted £5 from my wallet at a convention in Glasgow because they looked at all the gubbins on my belt and said, "It looks like you're going forth equipped. Is that a weapon?" And like a fool, I did a quick draw of the Tabasco sauce, and they said, "Yes, exactly." Pepper spray. That's £5, thank you.
They made a peace bond as Tabasco.
Peace bonded Tabasco, yeah.
It was terrifying. Talk about the
But curries, I love Indian food. I love hot food generally. But it's very funny that when we first settled in Ireland, there was, if I recall correctly, one Indian restaurant in the whole of Dublin, and it wasn't a very good one. So I ended up having to roll my own. And having done a lot of Indian cookery at home, I've come to the conclusion that it needs to be a seriously good restaurant to match the hand-rolled stuff, especially because you know what's in it. Ron Moore came to stay with us once. We were all going to be going to a Star Trek convention in the UK. And Ron flew into Dublin Airport and broke his journey there, broke the back of his jet lag. And he had known about the curry as well, so I had prepared something for him. And
Ron also cooks.
Well, Ron cooks extremely well, but he said, "I like it hot," so I gave it to him hot. And the following morning, there was a plaintive voice from the guest bathroom requesting Diane to take a roll of toilet paper and put it in the freezer for 10 minutes, please. So, plain something was working.
Bit of ring of fire there, dear. Yeah, these guys, I had some V8, which is, it's like tomato juice, but it's got other vegetables in it as well. I drank it all because, frankly, it was mine, and I was intending to drink it all. Next thing I hear is him complaining that he can't make a decent Bloody Mary for Ron because there is no V8. I said, "I'm sorry, it was mine. I drank it." So I
got a blender, I put a couple of cans of chopped tomatoes and juice into it, whizzed them up, made it drinkable with vodka. It takes quite a lot of vodka to make mushed juice like that. And then threw a couple of fresh habaneros in. Because we grow our own habaneros. It turns out that the north-facing window, south-facing window, excuse me, in the kitchen is perfect for growing chilies of all sorts, but mostly habaneros. And I've still got some of the last batch in the freezer. But when Ron was there, I thought, right, okay, I don't think we have enough Tabasco sauce, so let's take a couple of these. Whiz! And once again, he found it rather warmer than he was expecting, but I didn't notice that he put the glass down until it was empty. So he had only himself to blame. It was damn good, though.
Now, talk also about the chilies.
Pork with chilies and chocolate.
Pork with chilies and chocolate.
Yes.
I mean, not so much the curry end of things, but the Mesoamerican.
Well, this is where I throw in a quick advertisement for EuropeanCuisines.com.
Yeah.
In which this particular recipe does not feature because it's not European. But I found it in a cookbook that I picked up in a second-hand shop. And it was originally a sauce for basting roast pork. And being a lazy bugger, I thought, right, okay, we can convert this into a one-pot stew that can go into a timer oven and be ignored. And basically, it's chunks of pork stewed in a sauce of tarragon vinegar, garlic, onions, tomatoes, chilies, and chocolate. And people who don't know go, chocolate? Ugh. They do so less nowadays because they're acquainted with Malay. I think St. Delia has done a Malay. That sounds good. But people who've tried the whole thing and then tried it before the chocolate goes in, know that something's missing. They're not quite sure what, because the chocolate sort of vanishes and stops being chocolatey. It just makes the thing, it browns, seasons, and thickens a bit like Bisco, but better. And the end result is something that's
gloss.
Oh gosh, yes, but it's absolutely delicious stuff. There is only one caveat: don't wear white; you'll never get the stains out.
You do.
But for the rest of it, I have seen people carefully humming the stains off and then licking their thumbnails, which is rather nice. Paul Dini, the chap who wrote most of the Joker episodes of Batman the Animated Series, was once discovered by Diane with his head in the wall oven in Michael and Bryn's house, with the phone under one ear while he was organizing his flight back to San Francisco, while eating his breakfast of cold pork and chickens and chocolate with the other hand.
Eating it with going, Paul.
No, our first cry was, no, don't turn the oven on.
You know,
anything
you're too
else
young, you have everything to live for, and it's, oh, you're eating our food. That's right. Keep going. You know, it is great the next day. Like many great casserole dishes, it's better the next day.
If it lasts long enough.
Well, sometimes it doesn't.
That's one of the funny things about food, though. I tend to put a lot of food description into my food, into my writing, excuse me, and very little in the way of sex. At least not blatant stuff. But the characters will sometimes simmer at food analogy again. They'll sometimes simmer at each other, but they'll never get down to doing it hammer and tongs where you can read about it. The assumption is that you're adult enough to know what's going on between a married couple once the door closes, especially since they've been purring at each other for the past 10 paragraphs.
Yeah.
But
meaning the phrase food bombs.
oh yeah, well this, oh gosh, yes, there was a sequence in gosh, what was it, Fireburn, where
is that where this atomic is?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
But Prince Ivan has been away on an adventure, comes back, and his wife Maria Morena is discussing the feast to welcome him on. So I did some serious writing about that. And the manuscript went off, and about 3-4 weeks later, I got a phone call from my editor, who was livid. Peter, I'm going to kill you. What's wrong? Is it bad? No, it's bloody marvellous. I've hit the feast scene. And do you know something? I've got 3 hours to go before my lunch. I'm dribbling on the bloody manuscript. I love you, mate. Good.
Yeah.
But yeah, sex, or food as sex, or as an analogy for sex, it means that you don't have to worry too much about the 18 certificate. If the children reading the book are old enough to know what's going on, then Mummy and Daddy don't have to tell them. And if they're not old enough to know, then they won't know what is being hinted at. So I win both ways.
What was the movie? Tom Jones?
The one with Albert Finney.
The
Yes.
eating scene.
Yes.
Yeah, like that. Because at the end of the day, everyone knows what sex is going to get into, you know. Let's do something more interesting than the sex. Do the build up to the sex. And if you're doing sort of virtual Tom Jones with the food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there's also this. Nobody that I know personally has rescued the princess or killed the dragon or conquered the empire. But a lot of people I know have had a meal so good that they have bored the arse off me describing it for weeks afterwards. So food is something that will really get the reader, my readers anyway, identifying with the character, because the characters are doing something that they've had a chance to do or hope to do sooner or later. Yeah. And after that they sort of vanish in a welter of spattering sauces and broken bread rolls. And everyone's happy.
And they know what chicken curry tastes like, but they don't know how to kill a dragon.
Yeah, except possibly by feeding it chicken curry.